Red State, Travis is being driven to school by his mother when they get stuck in a traffic jam caused by protesters. 2 weeks ago, unknown people killed young Jacob Harlow, wrapped him in plastic, and threw him in a garbage dump. And protesters came to his parents' house to disrupt the funeral procession because the murdered boy was gay. At school, Travis tells the teacher the reason for his tardiness, Eben Cooper and his Trinity Church. All the students in the class have heard of these people, religious fanatics, whom even the local neo-Nazis consider too radical. However, their demonstrations are protected by the First Amendment of the US Constitution, freedom of speech, assembly and religion. After school, Travis' friends, Jared and Billy, suggest that they go to one woman's house together in the evening. Jared has been texting her for 2 weeks, and today she agreed not just to meet for the first time, but to spend the night with 3 friends at once. Her house is half an hour away, so the teenagers drive there late at night on an empty road. Discussing the details of the upcoming adventure, Travis does not immediately notice a car parked on the side of the road with its headlights off, so he scratches its side. The friends stop and see that there is no one in the car, so they just drive on. Meanwhile, from the forest, an unknown person sees the driver straighten up in the seat of the parked car, and his lover appears under the steering wheel. The friends arrive at the address and see a trailer from which a woman is getting out. She drinks beer and assumes that the teenagers are already eager to give free rein to their devilish lust. She invites them into the trailer because the devil has already waited. The friends smile and go inside, and the woman says that she will not sleep with any man until he drinks at least a liter of beer. Meanwhile, a man in a scratched car arrives at the sheriff's office, enters, and sits in the sheriff's chair. He calls the deputy and gives the task to find a Volvo station wagon with a scratched right side. The sheriff is afraid that the teenagers not only recognized him, but also saw his lover. When the deputy goes to search, the sheriff looks at a photo of his wife and cries, scared that people will find out the truth about him. In the trailer, a woman treats the teenagers to beer, and after a few sips, they simultaneously lose consciousness. Jared wakes up in a cage and hears a song about Jesus, which is sung by men, women and children. Jared screams that this is some kind of mistake and to ask release him, but his requests are ignored. When he shouts loudly, they beat him with a taser in the chest. After the choir sings, the preacher says that their Trinity Church has received recognition. Tomorrow their rally will be shown on TV and written about in the newspapers. The parishioners believe in their good deeds and unquestioningly obey the preacher, Cooper. He explains that religion has become tolerant and soft because other priests say that God loves us all. But does the God who drowned the whole world in the time of Noah look like the one who loves us? Cooper asks. No, he sends cruel punishment every time people forget how to live righteously. Cooper hates sin worshippers and believes that America is mired in filth and debauchery, and the main tool of Satan is gays. That is why in recent years the country has been experiencing hurricanes, tsunamis, earthquakes and floods. As the most vivid example of God's punishment, Cooper cites the tsunami in Thailand in 2004 when about 300,000 people died. Because Thailand is the largest concentration of gays in the world, according to Cooper, the preacher concludes that if no one else is concerned with moral issues, then the Trinity Church is ready to take on this burden. Cooper asks to take the children out of the hole because now they will move from theory to a practical part. Jared sees a stranger who is tied to a large cross with cling film around his neck. Cooper accuses the prisoner of sodomy and offers to do with him the same thing as 2 weeks ago with Jacob Harlow. The men go up on stage and wrap the victim in cling film completely. At this time, all the parishioners in the church are completely delighted with what is happening. Cooper shoots the victim in the head with a pistol, after which the parishioners throw the corpse into the cellar located under the stage. Jared hears the voices of his friends coming from below. He is tied to the cross next, but Jared shouts that he is not gay and does not have to die. Cooper says that Jared is long dead and even worse than gay, because he wanted to share a bed with other men, and exactly this destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. The ritual is interrupted because an officer drove up to Cooper's church, who saw a scratched station wagon in the yard. Cooper gets out and tells the policeman that it is his granddaughter's car and asks to settle the situation without insurance payments. While Cooper offers to introduce him personally to the victim, Travis and Billy in the basement manage to tear the tape that held them. Travis has not yet freed his legs, but the frightened Billy does not help his friend. He rushes forward to find a way out of here. All the doors to the street are locked, but Billy unexpectedly finds himself in an arsenal that he did not expect to see in the church, a room with a stock of firearms, enough for an entire military unit. Billy is caught up with a parishioner, they shoot each other and both bodies fall to the floor. The officer hears the shots and tells the sheriff on the radio that backup is needed, when suddenly a parishioner runs out and kills the officer on the spot with a shotgun shot. Cooper approaches the radio and calls the sheriff an old pervert, because they have a photo of the sheriff and a young man sitting in a car. Cooper suggests that the sheriff not meddle in their church's affairs, otherwise the photos will end up with the journalists. Later, Cooper calms Sarah, the widow of the parishioner who died in the armory. The pastor shows her the bodies of 2 teenagers and explains that her husband is now in the arms of the Lord, because he may have saved them all by shooting 2 enemies right in the armory. Cooper does not know that only one of the teenagers was shot here, so as he leaves, Travis gets up and takes his weapon. The sheriff calls Agent Keenan from the ATF, the Bureau of Combating Illegal Trafficking in Arms, which was investigating the Trinity Church case. Keenan tells the sheriff that they were unable to charge Cooper due to lack of evidence. 7 years ago, he bought a lot of automatic weapons and was interested in various modifications of them which are prohibited in the state of Texas. The ATF tried to introduce their man into their congregation, but it did not work because this is a very close-knit group of people who are spouses or direct relatives of each other. Once, a grenade exploded near Cooper's house, and then he declared to the press that if the state did not guarantee the safety of his family, he would do it himself. They fenced their houses with one fence, and now no one knows what the Trinity Church does. They are loners and from time to time picket gay bars to attract attention, so the ATF did not consider them dangerous. But tonight a police officer was shot, so Keenan assembles a task force and moves to Cooper's house. Early in the morning, when all the parishioners have returned to the church, Travis arms himself with a machine gun and looks for a way out, but all the doors are still locked, so he runs through the chapel and out into the street. The parishioners run after him. Suddenly a shot is fired, and Travis's body falls into a fountain. He is killed by the sheriff, who notices the weapon in his hands and mistakes the fugitive for a parishioner. Keenan snatches the rifle from the sheriff and shouts for him to get into the car and sit there. After that, Keenan takes a loudspeaker and declares that he has a warrant to search this area, including the house. He demands that everyone leave the church and go outside with their hands up, and then the ATF will not harm anyone. A few minutes later, the Cooper family opens fire, and Deputy Keenan is the first to fall to the ground. Using a significant arsenal, the parishioners defend the house, preventing Keenan's group from leaving cover. He contacts the leadership and receives an order to storm the house, eliminating everyone inside as terrorists. Keenan is against it because there may be children there, but he also has no right to ignore the order, so he demands written confirmation of the order by email or at least SMS to protect himself and the group. Keenan receives an email with a reclassification of the case. Now the Trinity Church has been recognized as an extremist organization that intended to blow up a supermarket. They offered armed resistance to the police, so the ATF stormed the house and shot to death. No survivors were found. Meanwhile, a girl named Cheyenne quietly leaves the house from a back door and asks the agent to protect her and the children. The agent must destroy the target, but in front of him is an unarmed girl. While he doubts, Sarah comes out of the house, kills the agent and pushes her daughter inside. Cheyenne is scared and wants to get the children out, but Sarah, who has lost her husband, now sees the only meaning in reuniting with him and Jesus. Cooper told Sarah that they still can't win the fight against the ungodly, but for a righteous fight, the Lord gives them a pass to heaven. Sarah demands that Cheyenne take up arms and join the defenders. Cheyenne comes to the hall where the last immobilized hostage, Jared, is still alive. She frees him and they imperceptibly close themselves in one of the rooms. There, Cheyenne asks Jared to go out together and save the children, but the embittered guy does not want to help the parishioners who killed his friends. Jared does not regret his life if, together with him, the ATF agents destroy the entire Trinity Church family. Sarah hears their argument and bursts into the room. She attacks Jared and Cheyenne tries to calm her mother down, but accidentally shoots her with a gun. Sarah dies and Jared, who was saved by Cheyenne for the second time, now agrees to go outside with her. Keenan waits for reinforcements and begins an assault. An armored vehicle breaks through the fence and Keenan, together with the agents, breaks into the territory of Cooper's plot. Keenan neutralizes two defenders with aimed shots and approaches the house when suddenly Jared and Cheyenne run out from around the corner with a gun in her hands. Keenan orders to throw their weapons to the ground when suddenly the leader of the special forces appears and shoots both teenagers in the head. Suddenly, at this moment, a loud trumpet roar is heard from somewhere in the sky. It presses on their ears, and the agents do not understand what it means and where the source of the sound is. Cooper and his family also hear this roar. They triumph and throw their weapons, in full confidence that this is a sign, and now their ascension to heaven will take place. They go outside, and Cooper tells Keenan that 4 trumpets will sound now, and the day of judgment will begin, which will punish all sinners. Cooper asks Keenan to shoot, because death will only accelerate the process of the preacher's ascension. A few weeks later, Agent Keenan attends a government briefing, where he tells everything that happened that day. He says that by the 5th sound of the trumpet, everyone became clear that this was not a sign, and then Keenan hit Cooper with his forehead, because he was standing indecently close, and then arrested all the survivors. Although he did not carry out the order for complete liquidation, Keenan learns that he has been promoted. He asks why it was necessary to kill US citizens if they will now go to prison for the rest of their days anyway. The chief turns off the video camera and says that keeping such people for life is much more expensive than one bullet. Officially, the government can only kill with kindness, so if Keenan saved Cooper's life, let Jesus protect him from other prisoners now. The chief asks where this trumpet sound came from, and Keenan replies that it was a joke from environmental students, the closest neighbors of the Trinity Church. They had long been at enmity, so from time to time the students joked about Cooper's fanatics in various ways. That day, the environmentalists found an old fire siren and decided to organize a sign. In prison, Cooper continues to sing church songs, but without inspiration from his followers. All that the preacher hears from his cellmates are obscene versions of demands to quickly shut up